Okay, welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap, and we're going to go through some live analysis. We do this every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. It is based off our educational course so that you can apply what you've learned from that educational course right here in the live markets. You can apply what you've learned, and that's the goal. Then we also offer live trading from a stocks trader, J Trader, on Wednesday, and Scott Pulcini, a futures trader, on Thursday. We also have a lot going on our Discord channel. You might want to go and check that out. So lots of live events happening in there. 8:30 we have rain. This is all East Coast times. Rain on crypto markets. Then we have the advanced webinar here at 10 a.m. And then at 11:30 we have Tom B going through volume profile, and then at 1:30 we have Doug going through the options markets, and then later in the day at 2:30 we have the Algo Boys going through looking at their algorithmic levels, proprietary algorithmic levels, and the order flow events around them. Guys, it's quite a nice offering. It's all free, so you might want to go and check out our Discord. A lot going on over there, and we think we're offering some very nice services for you guys. Good morning, Tony. All right, guys, let's go through the disclosures and we'll jump right in. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning, JC. All right, guys. Let's jump in here and see what's going on in the S&P. We can look at any market you guys want. The order flow education here is for any market. Most people want to look at the S&P E-mini futures, so that's where we start. And we can go over crypto, we can go over stocks, whatever. Doesn't matter. I have a lot of different symbols open here. Anyway, let's take a look at what's going on here in the S&P. All right. Well, order flow wise, just quick, right off the bat here, very choppy here at the beginning. You can see the 9:30 cash open here, move to the upside, move to the downside, move right back up. Pretty strong buying here. So I'm looking for it to trade right now up to not only 97 but 4,000. All right, so key figure obviously is 4,000. So strong buying. We're looking for the continuation. Okay, they're on the bid down here at 90. They're also now they just pulled and added at 94 here, looking for the move up into 4,000. All right, so let's see if we can break a bit above it too as well. Let's see if there's anything above it here. Not much. Maybe up to 02, 03, maybe 5 up here. Anyway, let's zoom in here a little closer and see what's going on. Yeah, we might not. I mean, I'm looking for it to happen now. I am seeing some selling coming in here right now, though. All right, so we're still bullish here until we see something different. But we got to read the order flow here, and we got to go through the different scenarios, and the order flow shifts and changes. All right, so like right in here, high liquidity skewing the offer or skewing the bid here, but sellers took them on. Right, so we're starting to see some sellers now at these higher levels. Right in here, they took on these guys here, so that's telling us something. All right, so we know that there's some selling in here. We're still bullish until we see something more, though, but we're starting to note it here. Okay, so we also over here, actually, I shouldn't have been so quick. Right, so we see some selling in here as well. So we're still bullish, right? We're still looking for the move up into 4,000 until we see something different, but we're starting to note these things, and that's when these will add more to a different scenario, okay, and start to understand when, we get more and more sellers in here, when they might start to take control of this market. Guys, it's a simple scenario though. We look for this trend to continue. We just start to note these things in here. Okay, so we've already traded a 4,000, right? And that was the primary scenario here. Now look at this bounce here. Okay, look where it's bouncing off of here. Okay, this is typical in order flow as well. And note, it's this area here, right? So let's mark it up right here. Okay, see this 97? Now look at the push through 97, right? Guys, we just can't make this stuff up. Here it is in real time, right? We were noting these little areas in here. It's kind of funny. Something's going on in here. Also here, let's mark this one up as well. All right. So and maybe we'll see a pull. Well, we already pulled back right to it. Yeah, I just can't do this fast enough. Anyway, guys, here we are bouncing off of it, and now the move right back up. Okay, looking for actually more. Let's see if we can get more buyers up in here above this area where it just dropped from. Okay, and then I want to see it come up into not only 4,000 but 02 and maybe a little bit higher here, maybe up to 10. Okay, so anyway, this was this happened kind of a little after the fact here. Okay, we noted these areas. It didn't mark it up in time to see this follow through to the downside, and then the bounce off of here, and then the move back up. Anyway, marking up these levels, you can see how powerful they are. Okay, these are order flow events in here. And this is why we want transparency into where these transactions are taking place. Okay, look what it did, right? And you just can't make that up. It's like it's pinpointing it. It's because of this order flow event, and it's because of this order flow event here as well. Okay, this is why that you see the sellers come in and push it through here. Very, very strong move. Okay, and this is just dumping. All right, now we know there's a stopper in here as well. Okay, but this is a larger player coming in and just selling. That's it. Now we know they're going to trigger some stops most likely along the way, and they did. Over 100 here. Anyway, this is what we want to understand in the order flow here. It is starting to outline the specific players in here and starting to understand this market and the demand or the supply in here, what traders think of the market. This is not about the some sort of like mathematical equation or technical indicator. This is about the players in the market, reading them, putting these pieces together, and that's the edge you can get when you can read or understand order flow and put this together. Okay, so this is what it's all about. This is what these webinars are all about. Okay, trying to really understand and put together where these players are transacting to give us certain scenarios that are likely to unfold in the order flow. Okay, in the price action. Let's see. You have a question on Shul, developing VPOC. It shifts slower. If it shifts slower, can we conclude that selling is on its way? Well, the VPOC, I mean, if price is going up, it's likely just going to shift up, right? I mean, it has to, because the price action is, you can't add more to something in the past unless price is down there. I don't really quite understand the question, I guess. If you see a developing a high volume node that could be a point of, turn into a volume point of control, it yeah, it likely will. I mean, look, this is where like I really like it. It just almost kind of pushes my buttons here about the terminology. Um, Understand that it's what a VPOC is. So what that it's that name? It just means the most traded level, which is down here, right? And that's what we want insight to. Here, let me add another column in here. We don't care about the name, and if it's going to return to that, so what? Like, it's most likely going to return to where it can trade, and that's what it means. Because there's other transactions, other players at those levels. It can come down to here, though. It could come all the way down to, you know, and all of these traders in here and come down to here and then maybe reject. You know, maybe that's why you look at like the value area low in here or value area high in here as well. Okay, it's just a number though, and it's just trying to give a gauge. Yeah, okay, it's done technically, but just understand what these things are and how the market might play around them is the key. Okay, trying to develop a strategy and saying, well, 90% of the time it returns to VPOC. Okay, that's good. That's good if you have the numbers on something. You know, you have an edge there that you've quantified. You know, now the risk management around that and putting the order flow together with that is really where you're going to get some magic on Shul. Yeah, that's so let's go over it. So is it likely to trade back down here? If this is the one that's most developed here, right? Well, yeah, we'll come back there if we get enough sellers. Okay, and I don't see them right now. Okay, it doesn't mean that they won't come, but right now I don't see them. Okay, so let's go through some of the scenarios. Let's go through the scenario on the higher time frame of what it would look like for them to come back down here. All right, let me get the pen tool out and we'll just try to draw it up a little bit here. Okay, so on the live chart, instead of using an artboard, I prefer to do it that way, guys. Yeah, I mean, look at how thinly traded this is compared to, you know, back here, right? There's a lot more transactions here, or in here, I'm sorry, 91 or 2 on down to 80. Okay, a lot more traded, even though you see a lot of buyers up here. Okay, and they're setting the direction and the tone. It's very thinly traded right now compared to this area here, right? So here's one of the scenarios here. Sellers starting to come in, red dots like this. Okay, now what we'd look for in the order flow, this is just, well, there's many hints to look at first. Okay, for a return back to VPOC or, you know, high volume nodes. I would first look for this high volume node to trade first. If this is a mean reversion that you're looking for, this is the first stop, 98. Okay, do we have enough sellers moving in, controlling this market, taking it away from this area up here? Starting to unfold. Look at them pulling on the bid here. Let's see them add a little more here on the offer, and we should get a move, right? That's the scenario we're looking for. Now, are we getting that scenario? Well, we're seeing the red dots here, but we're seeing the bid still being kind of strong here. We don't see much on the offer yet. Okay, starting to come in now. Okay, let's see them pull. I want to see them pull here at 4,000. And they're not even tangling with 4,000. We're getting buyers in front of it. Okay, so we're just talking about a move down to this high volume node here. It's actually around 97.5. Okay, and that's not unfolding right now either. So what is it? I mean, what happens more often? The breakouts or the reversion? Oh, good Lord, who knows? According to auction market theory, it's all about reading the participants. Who knows? I mean, trending days, it'll never return back there. It may never, it may never even have a new developing point of control that turns into a new point of control. What instead is you'll get is something like what you're seeing today. Like if you might get this big, huge profile down here, and then it just trends all day long with small little profiles in here all the way up, right? And it doesn't, that day it never gets back here. Maybe it gets back there, a few days later or next week or something like that. Okay, Anshul, if you're looking for a specific number or the probability, this is a good idea for a study for yourself. Okay, according to auction market theory, my lord, like who cares about the auction market theory? Like if there's enough buyers in here, they're going to pull it away. It's not coming back. Instead, you're going to get smaller mean reversion, trades maybe to this node here, right? Or you can see it's developing into a node right here at 4,000, which makes pretty good sense. I think it's extremely valid and worthy, Anshul, of a study. So if you're a volume profile trader, go look that up, or go back and study it. I see. Right, you're in the Indian market without the heat map. Yeah, it's a really, really good idea. I like your question very much, and the answer is you can develop an edge by studying that. And it will have to take your study, but you can have an edge right there, right? Like what's the percentage time that it returns back on what kind of days? All right, now let's cover what the order flow looks like though, right? That's where you're going to get an edge in here, I think, with Bookmap. So you got your bigger picture levels, like this looks good, guys, for trading back up to this 05 here. I would like to see a little bit more here on the bid, but yeah, I want to see more on the bid here. But we're finding buyers in here above 4,000 so far. Okay, I'd be very careful with this one though. We really need to see them come in, these buyers. Okay, because if it's kind of dark in here, this might be the dupe, right? The thing that gets you to start getting interested here, and then you're going to be stopped out down here. All right, so we want to be really careful of these kinds of moves in here. In fact, here come our sellers right now. Yeah, looks like they're going to go for it here. Try to trade through back down to this node at 97.5, and they should see we should see a stop run there as well. Okay, into 97.5. There we go. Okay, now watch though. I mean, they were starting to buy up here. We could still see them come back up here. Okay, I don't see them coming in right now, but we could. Subtitles are activated afterwards. Okay, so you can look up your that later. Yeah. I don't know, play around with your settings in there. Anyway, yeah. Well, without the heat map, like, and you're looking at the Indian market, you're going to have to lean more on some of the add-ons and the indicators, right? The sweeps, the absorption, also footprint. Footprint's available now. So I don't know if you added that in there. Anshul. anyway, guys, let's take a look back here. And where I was trying to end up with answering that question and why I'm spending so much time on it here. Reach out to support on that about footprint. Yeah. All right, so what I wanted to cover in here, and this is about going through exactly the same process where we go through every day in here on Schul, is about getting an edge via order flow. Okay, understanding the participants in here. So let's suppose you did your study, and on I don't know, on a lot of days, like there's a mean reversion back to the high volume node. You know, you have to kind of filter your study a little bit, but let's just say, you know, what is the likelihood of it coming back to the high volume node? Great, there's your study, and you came up with, wow, okay, you know, I see that due to my studies, you know, of the quantitative study, that we come back to the high volume node, let's say, you know, 65% of the time or something. There's your edge. Now, if that's what you want to trade, now let's look at the order flow in here. Okay, that's where you can really optimize that edge. Okay, so in fact, this was what we were looking for in here, and I kind of had to take it back. I was like, oh, it looks like they're coming back in, the buyers are coming back in, and then I noticed the dupe that these is potential. There's potential here for this to be the trap volume. We're not going to make it to 05. You know, we were actually looking earlier for the move back down into some of these previous levels, due to some of the selling pressure we saw over here before. Okay, so now we're probably, yeah, we're already there. Anyway, and you can see this is going to be the stop run that we were talking about down in here, and the move is continuing. All right, so anyway, let's go through the order flow and give that edge here to this mean reversion type of trade. Okay, and we don't even have to look at like really small structure in here for this. It's right in front of us here. First things we look for on the way up here. On the way up, we want to see high liquidity filled at these levels. We start to look for cracks in that bullish move in here. Okay, and we noted them in here. There's a few where the high liquidity on the bid was taken by the sellers here and here, and we just noted them. Okay, and then look at this dump here, and then someone came back in and immediately moved, or traders came right back in and said, well, this is someone probably, you know, liquidating or I don't know, doing something. There's an edge to trade it right back up here. Okay, so they did. Now look at this in here. They're on the bid, and they also transact in here as well. Let me change this to a CVP. So they're transacting in here as well. Okay, and some of it pulled. So we're starting to see some selling pressure. Okay, it's notable. Okay, we came up, we trade into this liquidity up here at 05 as well. They all got filled in here. They're on the bid here. This is bullish. Okay, there's no question about that. They're bullish. We're bullish here. We see the selling coming in here, but this is where the move initiated here at 99, and we look for the bounce out of that area. We still look for the bulls to be in control here. This is where we see a shift here. All right, it's right here. And let me mark it up. Okay, it's right around this 99 level. Okay, so the sellers coming in, moving this market lower, and then now they're below these guys here. Okay, back down to this level here at our 97 level. Okay, So now that's where we're starting to see the crack and the shift here. And look at the volume in here. This is really key. On Shul, this is where you'll get your edge. Look at the volume in here. Let's compare it to this volume over here. It's kind of equal, right? Look at the bars in here. Look at the dots in here. This is the shift in the order flow from here, right here, around our 99 level. Okay, but it started up here with let me actually get rid of these here for the moment. And we're going to talk about who's in control in these levels here. Buyers still in control, right? That's why I was looking for it in here. And then I was like, wait a minute, like not on the bid down here underneath. We want to see that. Sellers can come in, and this could be the dupe or the trap volume. All of this would be the trap volume up here. All these buyers. And then the sellers can come in and see that stop run to the downside. Okay, so and then we did see that move. Okay, so this is where you look for your mean reversion trade on Shul. Long story short, reading the order flow in here, this is where you start to look for that shift in the order flow to give you that edge for your mean reversion trade. Okay, now let's take a look at the mean reversion. Okay, what does it mean in here, or what's the significance here? Well, the first stop would have been this 97-ish level, which was a high volume node in here. Okay, you can see it's developed more now because more is traded around that level. Okay, now there's still if you want a true mean reversion trade, it's back into these areas here. So we're still looking for 90. Now let's match it up with high liquidity here, and it's there at 90. Okay, so it's in front of that area here. Okay, so you would, if you were involved in this mean reversion trade, these could be your areas to splice into that trade right in here. Okay, maybe even here. Now you're getting in at a really poor entry, but you're looking for that mean reversion trade. Okay, and maybe you took some off already. Okay, because you saw the shift in the order flow in here. Another way is looking at some trend lines in here. Okay, we're just trying to find an edge, right? And we can see that shift in here. Okay, we made a lower high in here. We were looking for the breakout here, but then we kind of quickly talked about the second scenario here. All right, so anyway, look at the buying coming in. So on Shul, this buying coming in, like well, they're right back up into these areas where you would have been entering, more or less, or a possible entry. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about trade management on this potential strategy that you're talking about. All right, and it would be to take some off on the way down, maybe at this level here, some of these levels that we previously marked up, because we're anticipating a bounce around those levels. Okay, so now let's go through it in here. So let's suppose you got involved in here. You took some off down here at 93.5, let's say. So you made like 4 or 5 points maybe, and you would have been stopped out on the rest. Okay, and you would have been stopped out at break even on the rest. Okay, well, now this is a very hypothetical situation or scenario, because we don't know what the overall number is. Do you have an edge for that mean reversion trade for today? We don't know that. Okay, but this is the order flow. If you did, then this is the order flow we would look for that to unfold. Okay, does that make sense? It's a great question, and I want to go through it in some details in here, how to start to develop an edge with order flow and understanding your higher time frame studies. All right, so now the order flow is kind of jumbled in here. However, look what just happened up here. We trade back to the figure. Our trend line in here, Well, we're getting a bit of a pullback now, even though there's quite a bit of buying in here. So this is really back and forth, right? I mean, sellers still, from this move onward, they still remain in control. Okay, it's looking pretty equal though. I don't see much of an edge here in the order flow, to be honest. The selling here is kind of equal to the buying in here, probably a bit more selling, and we also made a lower high. So I would still say sellers have the control from this point in this time frame onward. Okay, so you know, this is where it comes back to how you want to manage this. Okay, so if you're looking for your shorter time frame move and that mean reversion trade, well, you would have taken some and you would have been stopped out at break even. If you're going to give this more time to work for a bigger, higher time frame mean reversion trade, you would still be in it, and you'd be looking for the move back to about here. Okay, I would still take some off at 90 just because I'm matching up that area with the liquidity. It's pretty close, 88 or 90. And I would go with 90. Now, because that's where the demand is. Okay, that's again, like if you don't have that, that's what it looks like. Okay, so now how to do this without the heat map? Well, look at the swing here, and then look at there's also this swing in here, and you start to look at maybe the pressures here in the volume, right, to maybe give you some insights. Also, you can look at your sweeps and absorption indicators. They'll be helpful. All right, so anyway, yeah, swings are a great way to look at levels, and you kind of assume that there'd be some liquidity down around some of the swings. Okay, but let's verify it though with the heat map. Yeah, well, they're a little bit lower, 90. Yeah, the heat map does give you that added edge, no question about it. I mean, that's one of the main features in Bookmap. Okay, from the very beginning. All right, Discord. Let me get back to Discord. No one, nothing in here in Discord. No questions. Okay. Let's zoom out a little bit more here. Now, here again is like this is where it really depends on your time frame. This breakout above our 92, 93, 4 level, whatever it is right here. Let's see, what is it? 90, 93. The breakout above it is still holding. Okay, so higher time frame. Here's our structure that we're looking at. Oops, hold on a minute here. Here's our big structure here, and then it's still holding above it here so far. Okay, so now we know, or we talked about it, on the smaller time frame here, sellers in control here. Okay, and still remain in control in here. Higher time frame though, this is just a pullback, and there's more buying in here, more selling down here, but we're above that. So that's where the stop run comes in. Just people getting chewed up in here on the way up. Okay, let's see if we get these buyers interest in here. and try to break out again. Okay, we got a trend line, we got a high here, the swing high, we got 4,000, the figure key level, and that's really all we got. There is some liquidity in here, as we can see, and we do have some buying up here, but it's not giving us too much right now. The buying looked pretty good in here, kind of curtailed in this area here. Okay, so that's what the market's telling us so far. Okay, here they go again. Let's see if they're interested. I would stay away from it. I mean, I'd be looking for maybe the move to this liquidity here, but we're already there. But see how it's just dark underneath? I still don't like it. Yeah, I would let that kind of pass by. Okay, should be a stop run. Little bit. There's our sellers again. We just found some. So it's really kind of back and forth up at these levels around 4,000, as you guys can see. Right, we found our sellers right in here. Same ideas, or same thing we saw earlier. Okay, now we're back down to where we just broke out from. Are they going to support it here? Let's draw up a trend line quickly. I'm looking to see if we get sellers hit the bid really hard and come back down to 95 here. But let's draw a trend line. Yeah. All right, so not seeing too much here yet either. So do nothing. Right? We're basically reading the participants. What do they think? And I don't really see much thought in here, to be honest. Yeah, a little bit of selling, a little bit of buying. They're up here on the offer 4 or 5. They're down here on the bid around 95, a little bit at 96, but we're right in the middle, and there's both buyers and sellers in here. So we don't know who's kind of in control in this current environment on this very low time frame for the last like 5 minutes or so. Okay, we're looking for someone to take control here. Okay, sellers trying here, but watch this. If we can get right back above 99 here, buyers will take control, try to get these guys to get squeezed and try to move back up to the top here. So let's see here just a minute. So Anshul, what's that doing up here around this 98 level? Lee, when I start my trading day, how far back do I go in order flow to get better insight to what's going on in the market at the present moment? This is a great question, Lee. So let's go through it. Basically, what I like to do first is, I like to keep my eye on what's going on out there in the environment first, of what the participants feel about the news, the fundamentals. Okay, that's my shtick, or my way of starting. Okay, and I like doing that. I like being kind of abreast of what's going on out there, and then to read the order flow, on the much higher time frame for the day or the week or whatever, to see what people think about it, and the price movements, that really gives me a lot of insight on a much higher time frame of what's going on out there, and what does the market or the participants in the market feel about what's going on out there. Okay, and then that leads to the second question of what do they think about it in the price action. And then I look at my candlestick charts on the higher time frames here. Okay, so I look at my my daily, and this has got some weird data in here. All right. Well, anyway, we're up here at 4,000, and all these days previously, I mean, for some reason I don't know why. I mean, we saw this move up into here, so I don't really have very good data here. Anyway, guys, which is really a pity. Maybe we can just look at a four hour here. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, well, we'll just have to go with a 4 hour chart here. Okay, on the left hand side, an hourly chart in the middle, and our 15 minute chart here on the right hand side. I don't know why this isn't working very well. Oh, that's 1 day look back. Never mind. Okay. Boy, it makes these kind of difficult here to read. Yeah, we can look at something else here. Hold on a minute. Okay. So now this is free data, so you're not going to get a whole bunch out of it here. Go to a daily chart here, right? The daily should be fine. So yeah, the process. Let's start back to Lee's question. So start with some of the fundamentals, get a feel for what's going on out there. Geopolitical data. I like to look at the data from the economic releases. I like to see what the reaction is to that data, to get a feel for what's going on. I like to read the statements from the Fed. I like to just get a good feel for what's going on out in the market, and the reaction to that news, and then look at it technically. Okay, so what's going on in here? Look at the swings in here. So now I'm looking at order flow basically. Lee, what I do is I take the same information here at the lowest time frame possible, right? Just one transaction or two transactions. I mean, this is microsecond type of levels in here, milliseconds in fact, or microseconds in fact here, millions of seconds. Right, this to me is no different than looking at a higher time frame. This is just like a wick here on a monthly chart right here. I look for buyers to come in on the other side in this low time frame. Look for that liquidity be pulled here. Then I'd be looking for 98. If as long as we get some buyers up here at 97, next stop should be 98. As simple as that, right? Yeah, it came up to a few more ticks here. I didn't make it to 98. Anyway, this process in here for me, reading the order flow in Bookmap, is the same process to be used on that I use on the higher time frame charts here. Okay, so in fact, this wick down here on the daily, and then all of the and back and forth in here, we're still in a downtrend. I see this is pretty bullish in here, but I see equal sellers on this candle here, and then I see this nice strong move by buyers above the swing here. Okay, but it's and it's working its way up to here. We called out these levels. These are what we were looking for a couple of weeks ago, a test up into these levels here. First up into these levels on a specific day, and then later we were back up above it, and we're like, wow, okay, we're looking for it to come up to test here, okay, which unfolded. We get the downturn here. This one's kind of funny. I don't know really kind of where this went on the daily, at least down into this level here. I guess maybe the figure at 3,700, and then maybe new news came out or something that kind of disrupted things. I don't see a technical level down here though. And then very strong move here, and then we can see we're back up above these levels here, right? So I like to look at these levels. To answer your question, Lee, I would be looking at this level here as a potential pullback in the near future. Okay, back to about 90, or I'm sorry, 39.30 or somewhere around there. Okay, look at the strong move here. Okay, and then the next day, not so strong, and then today here, not so strong either. Okay, so it's starting to slow down. Hey, it doesn't matter. Like if we get back up here and we see strong buying, we're going to come back up into these levels up here, right? That's where we look for that scenario. Okay, so yeah, it looks like the market's kind of ready for a bit of a pullback though, to me. All right, so now if that's your kind of bigger, higher time frame outlook on this daily chart, now let's swing down into the hourly. Okay, well, do we see that unfolding here? No, it's not yet, not even close to being ready. Okay, so I don't see that scenario unfolding yet. So I'd still kind of look for bullish moves here basically on this hourly. Let's go down to the 15-minute. A 15-minute chart here. Well, we got to see buyers come back up into here. Okay, this 09 or 10 level from last Friday. Okay, we need to see the market trade up into there. We need to find buyers in here. So on this move here, okay, we just saw some sell-off, or this wick here on the 15-minute chart. Okay, we've bounced off of here and we're coming right back up. Okay, so now here in this scenario in the order flow on this candle here, I'm looking for buyers in Bookmap. I'm looking for support in the bid underneath here, right? And then I'm looking for the move to continue. This is basically the same thing we just looked on that microsecond time frame, that candle or that wick or that move to the downside, and then buyers coming in up here in the other side. So we've already tested up here once. It's a pullback. Now are we going to test back up here again? And if so, we're looking for strong buying in here. That's one scenario, the first primary scenario to look at here in my book. Secondary scenario is we're not looking for buyers in here. It made a lower high in here. We'd be looking for selling pressure to come in here and back down to here and retest back down into our 38 or 39.90 level. Okay, so that would be our secondary scenario here. So what are the buyers and sellers telling us in here is what we're looking for. All right, so it's a process, Lee. It's understanding my levels, marking up these levels, and I just mentioned them. I didn't mark them here, but I'm looking at the wicks. Okay, I'm calling them out. I did not mark them up though for you. All right, so now that's my guide. Okay, and then I'm looking for the order flow in here to tell me what participants feel about it. Okay, so it looks like, to me, we're finding buyers again. I'm looking for them to trade right up to 02 here. Okay, now let's see. I want to see that bid, strengthen the bid, and it's still down here at 98, right? So I want to see that. I want to see that bid in here. Okay, there's something on the offer. All right, let's get some insight from that. We found buyers. Interesting. Okay, I'm looking for buyers to trade to 02. Okay, and above. Okay, now here's the scenario, Lee. All right, so 02, 05, 04, 05, and then 10, right? Because we looked at 10 up here. All right, let's relate that back to 10 up here. Okay, 8 and 10 up here. All right, makes sense. So it's just, maybe it sounded kind of complex. It's really not. It's just different time frames and then putting together my scenarios. Okay, good. Do you need more clarity on that, Lee? I mean, like right now, you can see this is our primary scenario here, right, in the order flow, and the higher time frames too. Okay, now trade management's a whole nother thing. Okay, that's another piece of the puzzle, and it's a very, very important piece. But what we want is first we want an edge. Okay, and understanding my edge is understanding order flow on the different time frames, higher or lower onto higher and higher onto lower, and then looking for the scenario, going through the scenarios in here to give me that edge in here. Okay, and then in this case in here, like, yeah, you were looking for 02, 04, 05 to transact. Okay, so how do you manage it? Well, we saw the buying starting to come in here, so I would have been jumping in here. Okay, and I would take some off up here. I would. Okay, I know I'm looking for 10, okay, or 8 as well. 8 looks probably better. I would take some off up here. Okay, I like to front run a little bit, and I like to take some off in front of some of that high liquidity. I like to move my stop to break even. Okay, because I'm looking for this move to, here's my reasoning in my with my trading method. I'm looking for this to work now. And if I don't see it working now, I'll get stopped out at break even or take a small loss and look for the next one. Okay, or take a small profit and then get stopped out at break even. Okay, and then look for the next one. Right, because I'm looking for it to work out now. We know that there's some selling in here. We already know that. So this is where you can, yeah, it's up to the different traders. I mean, like on this, you would have been stopped out at break even. Okay, you would have taken some off. You would have been stopped out at break even. But we can also look at this in here and go through another trade management scenario in here. And that would be that we know there's selling pressure already in this. We saw it here earlier. We saw it before the move up to 05 up here, right? We noted it in these lines in here. Okay, so we saw that. We know there's selling pressure in here. Okay, so now we are So this pullback here, we are maybe we're not looking for this to move immediately. Maybe we're looking for today. Maybe it's a kind of a higher time frame kind of grinding move here. Like this is what we're looking for. Okay, a bounce off of this trend line. Okay, we can get rid of these others in here. Okay, so maybe you'd still be in it. This is where it gets into your way of trading, your way of managing it, your way of assessing the risk and putting that risk strategy together, your money management as well. Oh, for the news, like there's all sorts of things. I mean, just you could just go look at Reuters or Bloomberg or anything. Now, be careful with that too. I mean, like at least I am. The New York Times, Wall Street Journal, whatever. I can't tell you like how many times in here. Hey Floyd, how many times like I would read the statement and then I would read like from the Fed, for example. Okay, FOMC. I'd read the statement and then I would then read the news later. And I'd be like, did they and I would attend the press conference and then I'd read the news later and I'd be like, did they even attend? Did they even read the statement? Like this is like from another planet. Like their analysis, the sometimes the journalists, I've always kind of felt this. I think that the journalists match the price action and try to explain it. So they're waiting for the price to drop or rise, and then they're going to explain it with the headline in the article. They're not reading the statement. They're not talking about it. So that's my opinion and what I've seen. So I like to try to be very objective about that. Hey, good morning, Figure Out Money. Yeah, try to be very objective about that. Okay, so that's I think I really like that because then I have my outlook on it. That's my personal outlook on it. And how did the market react to it? Well, then I will have to ascertain that. Okay, so yeah. No, these are great questions. So I wanted to go through in detail and answer them, and we can create some content around some of the answers here. Let me get back to Anshul. He so Anshul, you're kind of answering your own question in there. There's buyers and sellers in this market right now. Okay, and we already saw that behavior. Okay, when we zoomed into some of these little areas in here, okay, we already saw that. So we already knew. It started way over here when the webinar first started. Okay, and it was here. Okay, and we marked up these two lines in here. And then it was incredible. They just went right to them. I mean, it's not incredible. I mean, we see it. It's just it's amazing to me. It's like here's the insight, right? Here's where they found sellers initially here at this 93.5. Okay, on the bid, but boom, sellers take them on. Oh yeah, went above it, right? Okay, they came in again here, high liquidity here, very close, very aggressive, close to current price on the bid. Sellers take them on. We're looking to see what the reaction is to this liquidity, and we got our answer. We found sellers. Okay, so we know there's sellers in here. A lot of the time we get the question about that, isn't this a magnet up here, this longer term liquidity? Yes, it acts like a magnet because the market can trade up here. It knows that. Participants know that. This is that high liquidity that's very short term that typically repels price away from it. It does not act like a magnet. It's the opposite. Because the way it works in here is this high liquidity comes in and then it's like all of a sudden there is a very increased demand, and it typically kind of spooks the market a little bit. You'll get buyers and they'll trade back up into 4,000 here. It's like all of a sudden there's high demand, so something's out of whack. Okay, instead this is where we know they're selling pressure, because they went right for it. They wanted it, they got it. Okay, so that's where we can start to gauge the market already, and we already knew that. Now we went above it and we talked about it. Like, we just note that to begin with, and we still look for the overall. That was an event. These are small events. We're looking for the overall move though, and we were still bullish, okay, to come back up into these areas, and we did. And then we're trying to read it up in here, and I think this is where this is the dupe, yeah, or the false move. Then I was like looking pretty good to come back on the 05, and then it's like, whoa, wait a minute, where's the demand here on the bid? There isn't. So that opens the door for these sellers to come in and then start moving that market lower, and they did. All right, so but we never got our mean reversion trade here all the way back down here. Instead, it kind of filled in this area in here. That's what it's done. All right, so now what do we have here? Okay, so let's go through it now. All right, so then we were just reading this order flow in here, and we were reading the higher time frames and putting the pieces together, and that we know that we're coming back up and we're finding buyers in here. Great. Okay, well then they should be able to make it up into this 04 area, 05, maybe 10. Okay, and then we talked about how to take advantage of that with a trade opportunity. Okay, it's not a trade recommendation, guys. We're going through these scenarios and then how to manage some of those scenarios through your trading, how to read some of the scenarios, put the pieces together, and then how to consider some of the trade management around those scenarios. Okay, and looking for a trade opportunity. Yeah, so we covered that. We would have taken some off, and we would have been stopped out of break even. And then look at this though, right? We know there's still selling pressure in here, and here they are right in front of us. Okay, so look at our 90 to 91 level here, right in front of the high volume node. Okay, they're bidding up. Okay, that's bullish. Okay, so what we know now is we know there's buyers and sellers in here in all of this activity here. On the bid though, now we need to see if they stay in here and if they want to transact, but this is bullish. Okay, they're in front of the high volume node here, and they want to be buyers. They want to be buyers in front of these guys here at 90. They're up at 92, 91 to 92 in here, and that is bullish. Okay, now what about the other side? Well, sellers coming in hard here, so I think we'll probably get some transactions into this, to be honest, or these guys might pull that liquidity. There's some pretty heavy selling coming in here too, so those sellers will meet those buyers here, right? And that's where we're going to get some insight. Okay, so there's our scenarios here. There's the whole kind of process that we talked about here, going through the different scenarios on different time frames, and putting the order flow together, okay, on these different time frames. Okay, so the key here, and to get to simplify the answer to Lee, is to mark up your levels, your higher time frame levels. Okay, and then what are you looking for around those levels? Okay, now you can drill down into Bookmap. Now this is interesting here. I mean, I know this is delayed in here, so we're not getting really good data from this. It's too bad my other charts aren't really working too well. Well, we can go with this. This does the trick, I guess. Yeah, so we're down here now. Wicks up above, wicks down below here, right? So yeah, I'd be looking for these sellers here to try to trade it down into this 91 area here, this swing here, these two swings in here. We're already down here, so let's see them try to test it. You know, now we already know too, though, that what's down here, guys? What's down in that area? Well, we know that there's buyers down there. Okay, now we just traded into them. Let's see. There it is. Okay, we know there's buyers here. Yep, liquidity, excellently spot on. We know there's liquidity down here. All right, now here's our event here. Okay, now we're getting some insight. You know, they stayed in the book. These guys wanted to get filled here, and they did. Look at the transactions into that liquidity in here as well. Okay, still more selling pressure, but they're still on the bid down here. Okay, so let's see. We might get the best of both worlds. On truly, we might get our mean reversion trade here. Or no, I'm sorry, it's already done it. It's already done it. Okay, now question and scenario we want to look at now is can we bounce off of this? And the answer is no right now. There's still more selling pressure right now. Okay, so then we're looking for more sellers to come back down lower here, back down into this 90, 94, 93. Okay, now let's just mark it up here, right? This is what these are the scenarios here. So 94, 90, I'm sorry, 84, 83 down in here, or can we get buyers back up above this 89 here, right here, right? So those are the two scenarios right now, and the primary scenario is we're still finding sellers, so I'm looking for them to try to extend this back down, and now we're looking for back down into this little range in here, right? And that would be your value area low. Maybe we bounce off of the value area low. Maybe that's where we'll find buyers. And we'll go through the order flow scenarios down here. If we're finding our buyers down here, well, then where are they going to trade it back to? Well, we're looking for the move back to our 90, or I'm sorry, 88, 89. Okay, still more sellers. Still going with the trend here. More sellers looking for like our 93 maybe down here. Or I'm sorry, 84, 83. Oh, thanks, Paul. Yeah. And let's see what other questions we have in here. Guys, feel free, like, you know, answer, or I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So on Shul, to get back to answering your question about the mean reversion, is if you do see a lot of buyers and sellers back in here, that's likely, you know, back up into this area here, that does open the door for this potential mean reversion trade back into this these high volume nodes down here. Okay, then you're looking for your order flow events in here for that to unwind. Okay, previously we were looking for a shot to the upside in this area here, and then boy, it's too bad I went and covered all that, because like this is why I kind of prefer looking at the And we missed all of this. This is really a pity. I'm sorry. My apologies, because we were covering other material. This was a good one in here. This is exactly the event. Now I know it's a pity, it's hindsight, but look how this repelled price away. This is that high liquidity. And this is what it you see how this happened on Schul. Take a look at this. 98, right? That was a high volume node in here, a small one, but it was a high volume node. Okay, well, this is where they're pushing it through that, away from that high volume node. This is the order flow event to push it away from that high volume node. High supply here on the offer, followed by sellers. It's repelling price away. Okay, so you're looking for, they're setting the direction, and they're giving us insight. This is giving us insight in here. So it's a really good event to see that up in here. It was up in here. See how I zoom out and I can't quite see it now? You have to kind of zoom into those areas. And then it traded into, then we're looking at our candlesticks, and we're looking at this liquidity in here. Where's it going to get filled or not? Because it was bullish that they were bidding up here. So what? It was bullish, but we found enough selling pressure to trade into it, and they got filled. Buyers got filled. All right, so here we are now down into our value area low, more or less. Okay, so let's go through some buying scenarios now. What are we looking for down here? Okay, well, we're looking for this. Buyers to come in like this. We start with the swings here. Okay, then this swing up here. All right, now the liquidity is up here at 88. Okay, so we'd be looking at this 87 swing as well. And now, what are we looking for down here? Lack of selling down here. Okay, high liquidity. We want to see them bid up in front of it as well. We want to see exhaustion on the sell side. We don't want to see sellers down here. No big red dots. Okay, so see how there's still more selling pressure in here. Okay, now here comes the attack here by the buyers. Okay, so let's see. Now we're getting, this would be, if they can get away from these guys here, this will be trap volume. Okay, so that scenario is open here as well. Here's our retest, guys. Look at the retest. No selling. Okay, do we get buyers here? If we get buyers here, then I'm looking for the move to 84.5. Now they move that liquidity down to 86.5, and then our 88 level. Okay, if we get buyers up here. Okay, and we're not. Okay, we're still seeing more sellers here. Makes sense? Okay, now we're down at 80. Okay, so I don't know where that value area high or value area low is, but you know that it's going to be somewhere around in here. Maybe someone else has that info. Still more selling pressure. Okay, let's start to look for this reversal now. Okay, so again, looking for buyers up here. Okay, here's our see our lack of sellers here on a retest. That's good. Looking for our buyers now. Okay, that's good. That's starting to unfold. Looking for back to our 83 level now. Okay, maybe a pullback here. We will likely get a pullback here. Okay, because we know that sellers remain in control here. If we don't get a pullback in here, it's just we're going to see a tremendous amount of buying. Okay, so now what we're looking for is buyers to support it here at 81 or 80. And so far they are. They're on the bid here. Okay, so we're putting, again, these pieces together. So now we get more buyers in here. We're going to get the move back up into our swing, or let's just call it 85.5 to 87 and maybe 88. Okay, this could be our bull flag pattern starting to unfold here. Okay, here's our pullback. Okay, pull back to this liquidity. Now, interestingly enough, they pulled that liquidity here. Okay, and it's bouncing back up though. Okay, so now, do we still see, now if the play here is this value area low, what's the order flow around that level? Well, here they are on the bid at 82. All right, do sellers want it? Not too clear. Okay, here come our buyers again though. Okay, do not like that it's dark underneath here. We can see sellers whip it down here into 80 pretty quickly. Oh, thanks, Stefan. Looks like yeah, you become a Bookmap disciple. This is looking good. All right, so there's still even without too much pressure here on the bid, we're still finding our buyers here. So they're starting to chew away at these levels in here that we're looking at. So we already traded up here. Okay, still, you know, still finding them, but this, we talked about the potential reversal after this move into this liquidity here, right? And these people bottom fishing down here. Okay, and then this is where the move pulled away. We got our pullback here, and then we got the continuation move. All right, let's see if we can get more buyers back up here, and then let's see it. Let's see if they can do it. I'm looking for a skew here in the supply and the demand here as well. That'd be good. And then we'll get to our 80. There it is. Let's see if they. We're finding it back and forth here, guys. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, this move to 88, like, yes, volume wise, yeah, I'd still be looking for this 87, 88 here. But like, just because we just saw that supply or that demand come in here and the sellers went after it, again, it's just making it more difficult to look for that pure directional move. Okay, still, you know, still looking for it, but we're starting to note that again. All right, so anyway, this is a really good swing here at 87, and there's liquidity right there. Okay, any questions on that? We're looking for that down in here, and then that potential. This is again, like, I think it gets back to some of the answers I've had. Is today's all been about Anshul and Lee, answering that question about the amount of buyers and sellers in here around some of these levels, and then putting the these scenarios together. So down here, we know we're at a down at a low, and we're looking at these levels in in the volume profile, kind of the edge of the profile here. So we're looking for some people to start to buy at those levels. When we know that they're buying here on the bid, we're just looking for the aggressors now to move it away. The thing in here though is we know there's sellers in here and we know there's buyers, right? I mean, aggressors. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about the aggressors, okay, which means the market buy and market sell orders. So this pullback in here was to be anticipated. A lot of times we won't get this pullback, but you'll just see it's because there's massive buying here. There is no reason to pull back. The sellers, they're going to get out of the way. They'll get run over by just massive buying. So they won't do this. You won't get that pullback move. Okay, so we started to see it, and it was kind of equal to some of that selling in here, and some of the big dots in here. A little less actually. So back and forth in here is to be anticipated. Okay, unless you just see massive buying come in. Okay, so now that can be worked into your higher time frame plan as well. Okay, so if you know that, then are you looking for these big bullish moves right now? No, you're not. Okay, so you would want to, you know, look at, or, you know, maybe curtail some of those aggressive, or looking for these big point moves for that day. It looks good for it to trade up into 87. Still looking for it. Don't like that it's dark underneath. I want to see them skew it here. I also don't like this up here. There's a little bit of buying up here, very little. Okay, so that means, you know, be careful. Potential exhaustion up here. Well, you know, structurally, we're still making higher highs and higher lows in here. Just looking for more buyers. All right, so answered some of those questions. No, the H contract, no, not yet. Floyd, the way to look that up is just go to CME, or just do a Google search for CME volume ES, and then study the open interest and study the volume. Okay, you'll see the December contract is, and we still got a ways to go on the December contract. Yeah. Okay, you had an 85 for your value area low. Okay, great. So they really skewed it through, and kind of tested. See how, like, you just want to be really careful about what your levels are. Just because it's a value area low, just don't, you know, set a limit buy there. Wait for the order flow to give you an edge, and understand what it means. Like, you know, it did trade all the way down here to the kind of edge of the profile, and then it rejected, but there was still more trading below it. It traded down here earlier. Okay, but this was low enough, and then for buyers to start to scoop it up. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Greg, let's see here. To get the stop and iceberg at the bottom, you need to have global plus. No, you do not need to have global plus. You can have global or global plus. That add-on is the MBO bundle. You will need to have rhythmic data, and you will need to be trading only, or looking at only CME group futures. So we made it that way on purpose, because not everyone's, you know, using rhythmic data nor trading CME group instruments. So that, therefore, the add-on works with global or global plus. That doesn't matter. Let's see what else. Okay, looking at some trend lines, Floyd. Yeah, I like trend lines. I like mixing, these trend lines together with. Look at this strong move, guys. Okay, finally, we're getting the heavy buying. Okay, back up into 87. Well, not quite yet, but looking for it. That's pretty heavy buying. So and a beautiful stop run here. So still looking for it to trade higher here, just due to that heavy buying and a bounce off of these little areas in here. Could come all the way back down here, but most likely in here for many reasons we've covered in the past, why we're looking for a bounce here. And then now let's see it, buyers. You should have it. They're on the bid here. We should find the buyers. We should trade up into this liquidity here and here. I think we can get to 90 as well. Okay, and then because we know there's buying pressure in here as well, right? Well, where are we looking for? Well, 90 is pretty good. 88 is pretty good too. And this was kind of the edge of that profile earlier. Okay, so I really like 90. It lines up really well with all of this liquidity over here. So let's mark that level up at 90. Okay, and then here's our bull flag. Looking for it to play out, guys. Impulse pullback followed by impulse here. Okay, up into 90. Oh yeah, Fogo. I think it's easy. I mean, you can trade right off. I trade right off of Bookmap all day. That's it. Strictly off of order flow. Well, I mean, Lee asked the question earlier about like higher time frame process. Okay, and then basically I use the same process here, and our education is based off of the same process of understanding order flow at the most binary levels, and then working your way up. So your monthly chart is just order flow, basically. Your weekly chart is just order flow, and so is your daily. And understand these order flow kind of scenarios, or the order flow events, and kind of order flow in the market structure on those higher time frames, and then just keep drilling down. Okay, so we got up into only 88, and then we found some sellers. Okay, I really like the 90, and maybe you can get up into 92 as well, where it dropped from here. So really back and forth and choppy. We know that there's buyers and sellers in here in all of this action. Aggressors. Okay, there's our 90 level, guys. Okay, so that would be it for me. That's what I was looking for, was 90. This is where we saw this really interesting, or kind of covered that. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't that move. It was actually a little bit higher, I think, right? Yeah, it was up here. Here's where this is where they moved the market and skewed it, and just totally moved it away here. So it's up around 98 right here. Wow. Okay, so we're back up here already. So I'm looking for them to come right back to these guys here at 98. Okay, that would be it would be another event after I took some profit, and then now looking for a 98. We're just about there. Okay, we're going to get some sellers up here, I imagine. Okay, so I would be taking profit up here around 98 as well. Anyway, talking about trend lines, we're talking about the Basically, it's like volume profile. You're just looking at a diagonal. That's all. Okay, so instead of looking at this horizontal area here, you're looking at a diagonal area like this here, and then looking at the volume and price action within it, to understand like who's in control in some of these. I mean, we know that that it's buyers, but if you get up here and you start to see a lack of buying, okay, or selling down here, that's telling you something, right? Even in the diagonal. I mean, of course, in the diagonal. Oh, thanks, David. Yeah, so we're back up to 4,000 basically, guys. Pretty choppy, but let's take a quick look back at our higher time frame in here. Okay, so we left off here on the 15-minute chart, looking at buyers trying to trade back up into these higher levels here, 05 into 10. And then the sellers came in, and then we're looking for just the move down into this 91 area. It traded into it and through it, and we still saw selling pressure, so still staying with it until we saw when there might be buyers coming in, and then we did see the potential reversal here, and we talked about it. Okay, that and the edge of the profile here, and we know that there's buying pressure still, right? So we're looking for them and waiting for them to come in. And then we're looking for our reversal around that point. All right. Seb, we just talked about fundamentals. So we talked earlier about fundamentals and how that sets the tone. Okay, and then we're looking at our technical levels on top of that. Or we're looking at price action and order flow events, which just basically means, Seb, what do traders think of the news? This is where you're going to get your insight here. Okay, so if you want to just trade off of fundamentals, well, yeah, I mean, I think you're really losing an edge there, because how many times when you think the news is bullish or bearish and the market does exactly the opposite. Okay, so you have to know the participants in the fundamental events. And what's even more fascinating about that is you might want to tune into Doug Plus options with Doug at 1:30 today. Because Doug is going to go through his options strategies and reading order flow. The reason being is that it was amazing to me, like that we saw he covered the FOMC, I don't know, a week or two ago, whenever it was, and we saw these positions and options beforehand, and the price movement around those options positions was amazing. So sometimes you get these knee-jerk reactions right at the event and the numbers, and the options positions of larger players has tremendous impact on that. Okay, so again, it's not about the fundamental event, it's how the traders were positioned for that fundamental event. How do you understand where the flow is going? Well, just read it. We're looking for the context here, Antonio, between the market buy and sell orders. The green dots are market buy orders. Look at how it just moves that market higher. And then market sell are red dots. But who are they trading with? Who's taking the other side of the trade? That's the liquidity and the heat map here. Okay, so that's where you can read both buyers and sellers in the auction process here. Okay, like they're on the bid here at 95. Sellers traded into these guys, so what's the context now? Okay, do we find buyers back up again? Great. Well, then they should be able to trade back up into the top of the range here, or maybe back up into here. okay, which would be the figure 4,000. Right? If we get our sellers coming in, then we're looking for our 94 and then 92.5 here. This liquidity, and then also down here 90. This liquidity. Yeah, you're welcome, Lee. You keep practicing. Just try to keep it simple, Lee. I mean, the simpler the better, so you know how to react. Okay, just like we're going through in these higher time frame levels in here. You know, what are we looking for around here? Well, we're looking for buyers to support it in here. They were on the bid. Okay, this is a good example here, right in here, right? These wicks in here. Let's just go back and we'll end it with this here. Guys, if you like this, please give us a like as well. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You'll be more involved with the webinars and the different streams that we have in here. Okay, we have many, as I covered in the beginning of the webinar. So in this area here, 90.91, right? That's what we talked about earlier, and that's where we saw all that liquidity in here. Okay, right in here. Okay, so they were supporting it, and it was bullish too. They were in front of it. So what happened though? We had way more sellers than we had limit buy orders. Okay, now not only did we have that, when we zoomed in here, we saw something pretty good. Well, it wasn't actually here. There was a little bit on the offer here, and that helped push price. But this is mostly aggressors, the market sell. Okay, it was up here though. They pushed it through in here. Reaction to that high liquidity in here on the offer, it repelled the buyers. No, Greg, I mean, the different setups in a database of it, we have the Bookmap Insights. Bookmap.com/insights. There's also this here, guys. I mean, you really should take advantage of this. This is a competition that we're having right now. It's open to everybody. This blue jacket competition here, this is about creating content. Read through it here. I'll put this into the chat. And you can win a free subscription to Bookmap Global Plus, including data in here. That's a really nice offering. 3 months including data. And also this opportunity here to be more involved with the Bookmap team. Really nice benefit here. So yeah, take a look here and then how to participate. Now you create some content, create some setups in here, guys. We'll put it into the Bookmap Insights page. I'll show you where that is here. Okay, and then in here you can see all sorts of setups in here. So this is the place to go for looking for setups. And let me put that in here for you guys. There you go. And hold on, and YouTube, let me put that in here for you guys. So let me see here. Oh, Greg, I mean, like what I really like to look for is just a I mean, there's all sorts of things I like to look for, but they're just hitting me over the head in the order flow. That's what I really like to look for, and they're just telling you, this is where price wants to go. And when you start to see that, starting to unfold, it just, it's telling you something. we go through the scenarios in here and we look for it to start to unfold. Like for example, in here, we were looking for, God, where was that flag pattern? God, I can't remember. And I think it was in here maybe. Oh yeah, we talked about it in here. It's like, yeah, buyers coming in, support here, good. We're looking for a flag pattern in here, but it pulled back to here because we know that there's some selling still in here. Okay, then we get back up in here, but this looks good to me, right? And then in here, like, yeah, I would probably shy away from that. Once I started to see some of this though in here, I'm in and looking for these higher levels in here. I don't know. I mean, that's in hindsight right now, of course, but we cover it in real time all the time. Right now, this too could turn into a big flag pattern right in here. Look, strong buying, pullback, not so strong. Strong buying starting to come back in. Great. Okay, let's look for order flow to give us some insight in here. Look for a pullback maybe, and then we're looking for strong buying though. Okay, if we get it in here, take a shot at it. It's not a trade recommendation. Take a shot at it though, and you're looking for a move back into 02, 03, 5 to 10. Maybe it'll even get up into 15 and 20 today. Right? So anyway, that's when you start to see these really strong moves in here, I like to go with it. Those are the easiest moves for me. I find the easiest to get involved with. See how we found some. I wasn't anticipating this. Okay, so what would that be for me? Well, that'd be a scratch or a small stop. In this case, it would have been a stop loss. That would have been I would have been out. Okay, I'll look for the next one. I would take a small loss on that. Okay, I'm still looking for it. In fact, I'm still looking for those buyers. This is a strong move. All right, so got to go through your scenarios and look for something that that the buyers or the sellers are in control. I think it's just that'll be a nice edge. Yeah, so here they come, right? So you can see this back and forth in here today, but I'm still looking for this to go higher. We know that there's a bunch of strong buying in here. Let's jump back and look at our higher time frame. Well, here's what happened, and this is still bullish in here, guys. This 15-minute chart is still bullish. We're still making higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so looking for buyers to come back up into these areas here. So we've already had our pullback. We're finding strong buying already. So I'm looking for them to trade up into these wicks first and then take some off. So 4,000, 01, 03, 05, and then maybe we can even find more buying to get up higher. All right, so we look for it. This is a big shakeout, back and forth, trending or not trending, counter trend move. And now we're looking for the flow, order flow to take this higher. Okay, that's the primary scenario at least. Okay, so and it still looks good here. Still looks good. I would still be looking for our 01, our 02, our 05. And that's high of the day, in fact, 05. All right. All right, guys. So let's we'll call it a day. So Tom B is already going. I've already kind of eaten into some of his time. You should be redirected right over to his webinar. He's a volume profile trader. So Anshul, you want to jump over there and check that out. He looks at the S&P E-mini exclusively. No, he also looks at the NQ. And it'll be order flow around volume profile levels. You're watching both, Floyd. Okay. Yeah. So go check it out, guys. The streams continue. After that, we have options with Doug. And then after that, we have the Algo Boys later at the close. Have a good day, everybody. Subscribe, hit the like button, and then we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for coming.